It looks like some big changes are coming to Apple Watch this year, probably in September, definitely not in March. Take it away, Griffin. Tell us about it.
Sure. So we've run a series of these articles, what to expect from, all these Apple product categories. We're going to bring special attention to the one on the watch because this sounds like it might be one of the most dramatic year-over-year changes in their lineup. So, the Apple Watch, world's most popular wearable, it could get its biggest redesign in its 10-year history in the form of a device potentially called Apple Watch Series 10, spelled with an X, or simply Apple Watch X, leading to another year of us correcting people who call it Apple Watch X.
Nothing
Some
wrong with
people
that.
saying, oh, no, it just sounds cooler.
There's
No,
nothing
the
wrong with
X,
calling it
X
the
is a Roman
X.
numeral. Oh, well.
I'll die on that hill.
Yeah, so, the bigger question is, will Apple, as the story starts, will Cooper actually be allowed to sell any Apple Watches in 2024? Because in the story that we've been covering, Apple was forced to stop selling the Apple Watch Ultra 2 and the Apple Watch Series 9 in the United States. Right now, they're on because of a patent dispute by medical device maker Masimo, which claims the blood oxygen feature violates their patents. They're currently for sale right now until January 10th as we record this. But after January 10th, they're going to be blocked from sale yet again. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know how long this ban is going to go on for. I think because Apple is having their fourth quarter financial results thing, I think in the first few days of February, either February 1st or the following Tuesday, I bet Apple will probably have an announcement by then because it would look very bad if they have to say to their investors that they don't have a solution to this problem yet. So I expect this to be resolved by the end of January. I feel like that Apple Watches are probably going to remain on sale throughout the whole of 2024. But anyways, coming in September, scroll down past all this. What exactly would an X upgrade look like for Apple Watch? According to Mark Gurman, a slimmer design with a larger screen, a new magnetic band connector, and new sensors are all on the cards. While the Apple Watch's screen has grown somewhat over the years, and the overall case has gotten a little bit rounder, the basic form factor of the regular Apple Watch has remained largely unchanged. There have been persistent rumors that it would switch to a flat-sided design, but that never happened, thankfully. I thought those were all ugly.
Oh, you did? Oh, I
Oh,
loved
yeah.
them. I thought they were beautiful, but yeah, we
I
never
mean,
got them, did we?
the thing is, if they were flat sides on that, it would get caught on you would bump it all the time. The fact that it's rounded means that it doesn't catch as easily on a
Oh,
table
that's
corner or a
interesting.
cabinet or a door handle like that. A big chunky side like that, it would just get caught in everything. But it is kind of remarkable how it hasn't gotten any thinner since the original one. Like I have a pile of old iPhones next to me because I always have props.
Let's see them.
Like if you can compare the original iPhone,
Yeah.
that big chunky boy, to the iPhone 5 that came just a few years later, like it's about it's about a third as a thinner than the original one. In just 5 years, it lost 30% of its thickness. The Apple Watch is still virtually the same thickness as the original one. It's still kind of plump. You know, if I'm wearing a button-down shirt, as I usually am for 9 months out of the year in Ohio, because it's just that temperature, like I can't I can't use the thinner button on my shirt sleeve because the watch is still thick. There's barely any wiggle room under my sleeve. It's and I have the smaller Apple Watch. It's
Yeah.
kind of weird how it hasn't gotten thinner, but
It's the
I,
battery,
I don't.
man. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder how much thinner they'll actually be able to make it for that reason because in order to maintain battery life, batteries aren't getting smaller. I know that much. I mean, battery technology hasn't changed in a really long time. They keep making improvements, but even those improvements are modest and they don't make they don't maintain capacity when they make the batteries smaller. So I kind of question how much smaller they could actually make this thing. Like if they made it, 10% smaller, I would be like, that's a huge accomplishment.
Mhm. There are a few ways they could do that. They could. It sounds like the redesigned band connector is going to free up space inside, which we'll get back to. The display technology could get thinner. That is a good point. That they actually can't, physically make cram more energy in the same battery without a significant, battery technology upgrade. But I'm looking for, hopefully that happens because the Apple Watch is still kind of, chunky. Uh, as we were saying, Gurman suggests Apple Watch Series 10 might come equipped with a blood pressure sensor for identifying and tracking hypertension. This would be the first new sensor that they've added in a while. The standard location for measuring blood pressure is the brachial artery and typically involves wrapping an inflatable cuff around the patient's upper arm. Blood pressure varies in other parts of the body, so results measured from the wrist might not be as comparable. Unless Apple plans to include an inflatable watch band, Apple Watch 10 would need to estimate blood pressure with its optical sensors, which seems to be the way that they go for a lot of these things, using techniques known as, I'm not going to say that, BCG and PPG.
Close enough. We'll allow it.
This looks at the rate of flow in the blood vessel to determine blood pressure. It's not as accurate as using a cuff, but it might be good enough to indicate changes in the general trend of the wearer's blood pressure. They did a similar thing with the temperature sensor. Like,
Right.
the wrist isn't a very good place to measure the temperature of your whole body. It's on the farthest end of one of your extremities, but they measure your overall trend in body temperature for specific medical purposes, not, it won't tell you if you have a fever or anything. So slightly more useful with one more sensor. And we've talked about the supposed redesigned band connector that'll slide in magnetically, maybe. It is a good point that you have there that, freeing up that internal space might have room for a larger battery, or at least a wider, skinnier battery for a thinner design. That might, the thing is, if they roll out a new band connector and they don't have a good reason for obsoleting your entire collection of old watch bands, people are going to be annoyed. But if they have like a good reason they can point to, like, we made the watch dramatically thinner, and that's why we made this change, people might be a little more receptive to it.